Well, AEW returned to Wembley, and safe to say, another really solid, very great show. Hard to put into words, but yeah. Allin happened earlier today, and boy, happy it did, because so many very good moments on the show. Very good. And we'll talk about them all. Hello, everyone. Hey, Joe, Two and Love here. So, unfortunately, of course, there's going to be idiots in the community. WWE tribalists, whatever you have you, are going to critique this as much as they can. But, as far as all in. But, it's just a lot of very good moments on AEW All In, and it's so fun to see. You know, last year it was more of a novelty, or a spectacle, because 80,000 the first time AEW's tested the waters of this big of a crowd. This year it was, I would say, around 53,000, 54,000. Still a very big and sound crowd. So, kudos to them. But yeah, AEW All In from top to bottom. From the trios ladder match that started the show to... We even had some hell of moments on the buy-in, the pre-show, which we'll get into. To the main event, Bryan Danielson winning his first title in AEW. Finally, he has some gold. And well, Bryan, we know his career full-time is almost done. And, we'll see. But this was certainly a moment that he had to have. With Final Countdown, from all those it was great. And what a dance partner he had in Swerve. Swerve, take nothing away from him. He had a hell of a run as champion up to this point. It's just the moment had to be had for Bryan in Wembley, and just great. But yeah, aside from Bryan, we'll talk about some of the other moments that happened on Wembley. But thank you all for joining me here on the podcast. Excuse me. I'm Joe Two and Love. If you guys haven't already, please subscribe. Help out the video. It helps out the channel, obviously. Center in the corner, as well as the notification bell. You can click on that. So let's first talk about moments that happened on the buy-in, the pre-show, which I now got, specifically one, got a number of feedback and backlash, which I can understand reasonably. So when you look at some of the other stuff that the women did on the main card. So first of all, we had two matches, I believe, on the pre-show. We had the mixed tag with Willow Nightingale, Tomohiro Ishii versus Stokely Hathaway and Chris Statlander. Love Statlander, love Willow. The reality is Stokely, this storyline, I don't know, it kind of feels like it's been starting to drag on a bit. Stokely is a great manager and great heel. Now he can talk and cut a promo. That sniveling heel. And against Ishii, random but interesting partner for Will. It just, your excitement level for this match, instead of it being a stipulation match between Will and Stat, is, I don't know, could have served a better purpose. But nonetheless, it was fine. Then we got a 12-man tag team match with Dustin Rhodes, the Von Erichs, Marshall, and Ross Von Erich, who are the Ring of Honor 6-man tag team champions, along with Sammy Guevara, who he and Dustin are now the Ring of Honor tag team champions. And then partner against the Undisputed Kingdom and etc. But nonetheless, it was. Wait, let me get this right. Shibata, he was their partner. Got that right. Makes sense. Versus the Undisputed Kingdom and the Gates of Agony, or Cage of Agony. So, Sammy Guevara, in his return, he's been mainly on Ring of Honor, which I kind of like that, way to kind of rebrand him. And, Sammy Guevara is obviously one of the well-established names in AEW, but to bring him back up, it's an interesting way to bring someone back up. And who knows, when Tay, Conti's wife, or the mother of his child, is going to be ready to come back in the ring. So, we'll see how that goes, certainly, but yeah. But I talked about in a video few weeks ago about Dustin and the Von Erichs winning the Ring of Honor 6-man titles, and how good of a moment is if you're a fan of wrestling history. I mean, I have the movie on DVD, The Iron Claw. The Von Erichs, their wrestling history, and their just whatever you want to say, but it was just a great moment for history to have two Von Erichs and a Rhodes son to win gold together. So I thought that was a hell of a moment. And then for this match here, the Von Erichs had their entrance with Dustin and their team, and then right beside them was their dad, Kevin. So, I mean, that was a hell of a moment, certainly in and of itself, for them to be in 2024 in front of all these guys or fans, do an entrance for a match, and then for Kevin to do the Iron Claw at the end. That was some moment. That was a great moment. Then the moments which got feedback from the pre-show. Saraya. So Saraya last year at Allin, won the AEW Women's Championship in that 4-way match against Britt, Toni Storm, and Hikaru Shida. Unexpectedly, but a great moment, for a return, and yeah, it was a great moment. So then, come here, and you were wondering if she was going to still be in some way or fashion on the show tonight. Because she got a title match with Toni Storm on Wednesday. And she lost. So now she comes here on the pre-show. And, she was pissed, for not having a moment, not having respect. She was with her family. So she was in the ring. And then out comes a returning. And it was great to see her back. Jamie Hayter. It's been well over a year since we last saw her. Healthy and whatever you want to say. But it was great to see her back. Especially because she missed Allin last year. And she was there this year. So first of all, that was great. As she picked a fight with some Hardy Cameron, she picked a fight with Mariah, etc. Her family. It was a hell of a moment. Why it got backlash? Simply because, Jamie Hayter, again, born in the UK, and, it's a big return for the women's division. And it's on the pre-show. So it's just suspect. But then you realize what happened on the main card, and you can kind of understand why she was on the pre-show. But still, certainly a moment like that on the pre-show, I get that. I'm not saying it was the best decision. I'm just saying I get it. Anyway, so good for Jamie Hayter being back. Certainly when you got now Mariah May as champion, Mercedes TV as champion, there's still a number of matchups in line for Jamie Hayter, who definitely wants revenge on her mind and some gold back around her waist. But yeah, she looked great. I'm sure some thought with her orange-red hair that she was Becky Lynch by a bit. But yeah, different look for her, but nonetheless, yeah, great to see her back. So now on to the main show. Speaking of someone who... So, we had the 4-way London ladder match for the Trios Championship. So we had the Patriarchy versus the Bang Bang Gang versus the House of Black versus Pac, Claudio Castagnolia, and Yuta. Those three won a Trios match versus Leo Rush and Top Flight. The winner of that would be considered the wild card in this ladder match. So this was to give Pac his one-way moment as well, because Pac, like Jamie Hayter, missed Allin last year. So it was really curious to see who would come out of this as the winners, because, Bang Bang Gang were just champions. We left House Black. So, I don't know. And we know Christian Cage's going to eventually go for the World Championship. So, in essence, it made sense to give to not pin the champions. So, there's that. But the winners were Claudio, Yuta, and Pac. So, first of all, great moment for Pac. He got his Wembley moment after missing last year. And, talks about his Wembley moment. And he won that four-way match to earn the eventual shot. And he saw as a shot at the International Championship at All Out. Now against Ospreay, which will be a fun match. But, this was another way to give Pac his moment. Very good, rightfully so. Very happy for him. Now, the trio styles, first of all, it's a unique combination because Jon Moxley, I think some were hoping he could even be in the Gauntlet match, but he's still on vacation. And he had teamed with Claudio and Yuta. So, this is just, an interesting combination. Pac, Claudio, and Yuta. So, we'll see how this dynamic goes forward with the Trios Championships because they're in a unique state because love the Patriarchy. Samoa Joe, I have to believe when he comes back that he, Shibata, and Hook, I'm sure there are plans for them to eventually go for a Trios Championships, so we'll see. But, yeah, great moment for Pac. Claudio has gold again after, losing to Okada on Wednesday, and now he's a Trios champion. And then Yuta. So, a unique dynamic, but hell of a moment to start the show. I must say, Nick Wayne had some very good spots in this match, so very cool to see. The dynamic between Juice Robinson and Mother Wayne, that was hilarious. That was hilarious. So then, I'm sure people are surprised that when you realize the match order, it makes more sense as to why this match was second. But nonetheless, this match happened this early, surprised a lot of people. But nonetheless, Mariah May, Toni Storm for the AEW Women's World Championship, arguably the best story on the show. Second. So nonetheless, interesting. So Mariah May, of course, was going to get a great reaction. Yes, he's been the heel in this story, but, it's funny with the UK. I mean, Big Bill, in his match against Hook on Saturday, was pissed at Cardiff, the fans, who was trying so bad to be a heel, but the crowd loved him. So, it's unique ways for Wembley. Now, the finish of the match certainly was interesting. By the way, Mina Shirakawa She was in the crowd. She was in attendance. We know, obviously, the confliction she has for these two in this feud. So, it was unique. Add a little essence to this match. So, nonetheless, we got the finish of the match. So, Mariah was busted open. And so there was a heel that Mariah busted up Toni in the first place, when she won the Allin. So Mariah was down. Toni wanted to hit her with the heel, bust her up, did the same as, what she did. Doesn't matter weeks ago. But Toni Storm couldn't grip herself to do it. And that wound up costing Toni Storm her title. As after Toni threw down the shoe, Mariah walked up a jackknife cover. Toni managed to kick out, but then 2 running knees by Mariah May, followed with a Storm Zero after a kiss to the forehead. Again, kiss of death. But nonetheless, Mariah May, 1, 2, 3, and she's the new AEW Women's World Champion. I mean, you always had in the back of your mind of who would be the one to take down Toni Storm throughout this fun reign. And in hindsight, this was the best outcome. Because, again, protege, teacher. And how Mariah May talked about it, she was getting close to Toni until it was time, to quote unquote cut the snake from the head, or whatever you want to say. But when she won the Allin, her demeanor changed, and how on she just read into this new gimmick of hers, and it was a hell of a match, and great job for Mariah May. Toni Miss Timeless, she had a great reign. This character was probably the best character work we've seen from a women's wrestler in AEW. So, I mean, we'll see if she takes a break, well-deserved break. We'll see. The weird thing is, I don't think this is the only match of these two. So, we'll see. We'll see. Now, if there was one match that I think people were not too keenly set on or invested in, this is probably it. Chris Jericho and Hook. I'll talk about what happened in the press conference after, or the media scrum. But yeah, obviously, this was because Britt vs. Mercedes was a first-time match, star-studded match, but, the build for many felt left to be desired. And for a number, for this, it was, again, been a fan of Jericho, all throughout his career. Hook, very young, but the fact that this is centered around, you name it, the FTW title, and the fact that it's not really a recognized title for AEW, and the fact that AEW has a number of titles, number amount, not just AEW, WWE included, and New Japan. That's the problem with wrestling. We have too many titles in certain organizations, but here we are. So, and the finish of the match was probably the best part about it. So FTW rules, FTW Championship, Brian Keith tried to get involved, but Taz had enough of the schematics, whatever you want to say, the shenanigans, and he locked in a Taz mission on Brian Keith at ringside while Hook walked in a Red Rum in the ring. And Jericho tapped out, and Hook is now a 3-time FTW champion. Great moment for him at Wembley. I mean, first of all, the match last year was fun with Jack Perry. Now we get this match on the main card. Interesting, yes, to a T, but I think we definitely preferred last year's matches more. Or match more for Hook. Now, I will mention, because I just caught glimpses of the press conference, media scrum, and Tony Khan and Hook did not take too kindly of a reporter calling the FTW title a joke title or just not a real title. And at the end of the day, was it the right way of saying it? Nope, probably, but there is merit, and you can tell Hook was pissed. It's like, we love Taz. We love Hook. The reality is, when you have a bunch of titles and you have this title, the more titles on a show, the values titles meaningness or significance. So when you have people on the show parading around a title that no one cares about, or not as many people care about, it's tough. And it's not a real title, but yet it's being shown and defended on the show. So people should get that. It's like they're not trying to be rude, they're just saying, well, it's not a significant title compared to the rest on the show. So, and Jericho certainly tried with his heat and stuff, tried to make it work. And in the eyes of him, maybe he did think his gimmick worked the way he wanted it to work. Did it help the FTW title at all? I don't think so. That's just my opinion. So then next up, we got the AEW World Tag Team title match. Triple threat match between the Young Bucks, FTR, and the Acclaimed. Which is fine. Another match you could put into the category of Britt, Mercedes, and Jericho and Hook. The build was either left to be desired or people just, I guess, did not care as much. And again, I love the Bucks. I love FTR. The Acclaimed have been watered down. It feels like this year, or have not been quite on their momentum or as popular as they were a year ago. But nonetheless, we got this match here instead of just Bucks and FTR for a fifth time. We got this match here and it was fine. The cool thing was we mentioned surprises and all that jazz. So after match, the Young Bucks retained, and we saw the Grizzled Young Veterans, GYV, make their presence felt, and they got a nice reaction in their home country. Great stuff to see. We saw them on Collision a few months ago, but have not really been making an appearance since. But now on this appearance on a big stage like this, and attacking those that were in the match, we talked about the booking of the tag team division has been cold. But certainly a team like this, the Grizzled Veterans, could certainly help provide some juice into this tag team division. Even though they have a good solid set of teams, Grizzled Young Vets certainly help. So interesting to see where they go from here. I'd have to say that besides the main event, this was obviously the match that got people buzzing. Really buzzing. It felt like. Or certainly me. So, the Casino Gauntlet match. Now, at first when you saw the lineup so far going in, you were kind of underwhelmed. It's like, okay, Orange Cassidy, O'Reilly, Strong, Mark Briscoe. We'll see. And then you get into the match. So we start off with Orange Cassidy and Kazuchika Okada. And Hangman in the match as well. And then I'm sure they swapped out at some point. And then the third combatant was Nigel McGuinness. Yes, Nigel McGuinness. Commentator who I have not seen wrestle since his TNA days as Desmond Wolfe. Great to see him back in action. He looked good in Maybach. This is certainly a match, and this quickly got people speculating, we know how much Bryan would like to wrestle Nigel. Well, that could still happen. probably not for the world title, but it could still happen if Nigel is in a match like this. But yeah, Nigel looked good. Great reaction. Then we got Kyle O'Reilly. And then the winner of the G1 Climax 34, Zack Sabre Jr., who already has a guaranteed shot at the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship, now looking for a shot at the AEW World Championship. So, right away you got two of UK's finest. Nigel McGuinness, Zack Sabre Jr. I mean, certainly was a unique moment for the UK, having those two wrestlers in the ring. I mean, right away. So then, it's certainly heating up. Then Roderick Strong, Mark Briscoe, and then Hangman appears. Followed with Jeff Jarrett. Their feud is still ongoing. And then, just to keep the momentum pumping, the rumors the other day came to fruition and were true. And he's got the graphic. One Ricochet is now All Elite. He was the next member of this Gauntlet match, and he got a good reaction. He looks good. He looks energized. I mean, great to see him in this setting. I mean, he didn't win his first match, per se, but nonetheless, it was an interesting spot to put him in. And it was unique to see him and Hangman go at it. And then the final participant in this Gauntlet match, which really made me conflicted. And that was the Patriarch, our favorite father of AEW, Christian Cage, who early in the night lost the Trios Championships with the Patriarchy, telling how he wants to be the world champion here in AEW. Well, now he has another chance, as he waltzed in. He was limping, he was feeling the effects. It didn't matter though, as thanks to Kill Switch, aka Luchasaurus, Christian Cage won the Casino Gauntlet match and now has a guaranteed World Heavyweight Championship match whenever he wants. Cash it in. So, great stuff. Yes, in hindsight, Hangman was probably the more logical choice, but at the same time, it does make sense for Christian because of how much he's tired of wanting the world championship. Now he's no longer a Trios champion. Well, this is an interesting slot for him to go by. And as a heel, Tony Khan said you could cash in the shot if you win it. Well, that sounds almost better for a heel. So, whether it's Hangman or Christian, it was great to see Christian win, because now the only thing when you're seeing Christian, the only thing I guess people are thinking about is, man, does it suck that Adam Copeland, aka Edge, got hurt at Double or Nothing and missed All In? Because that would have been some moment for him to be there at Wembley, hearing Alter Bridge, Melingus playing from 50,000, but yeah. Yeah. But yeah, Christian Cage wins the Casino Gauntlet match. This is probably the best Casino Gauntlet match they have done to date. I think some were speculating maybe Wardlow, maybe Jay White. Jay White may be more injured than people think, but nonetheless, hope he's heals up quickly. But yeah, Chris Gage and Bryan now is champion. Who knows? So then we got for the American Championship, Will Ospreay, who I gotta say was one of the coolest entrances I've seen. His Assassin's Creed-like entrance, because the aerial assassin. And that was great. That was great. So yeah, very good. And then MJF just living up the heel American Championship, the American gimmick. I mean, he looks silly in that American red, white, and blue getup, but it was great. It's just great. And yeah. So, after what Bryan said to Ospreay on Wednesday, you can only kind of figure one way for this match to end, and it was a great match. But there was one way it was going to end, and it certainly did. With Will Ospreay, after months of refusing to do the move, he hits the Tiger Driver 91 on MJF. 1, 2, 3, and Will Ospreay wins the quote. Now, Chris Daniels, this surrogate, was out there, and he presented Will Ospreay the International Championship. So, back to the International Championship, Will Ospreay again. So, he'll be facing Patriarchy All Out in 2 weeks. We'll see. It's interesting. Now, in hindsight, you can get why this match happened in this spot. Because of how great of a match MJF and Ospreay was. You had Britt and Mercedes, which kind of a dead spot. Because, if you think about it, the reaction for Mariah would probably not have been as good if it wasn't in the spot. So I get that, but could have done better. Could have done a little better with the match order. That's nitpicking, but yeah. So, we got Britt versus Mercedes. Mercedes had this very custom entrance. She was like, I don't know, almost like a chariot. And it was great. Unique. it's interesting flowing the mind of last year. She was in the crowd, and then she does her entrance and wrestles. I mean, the match was solid with Britt, but it just, I think it felt underwhelming to people, just the fact because the build and, again, this is the first time match, the biggest star-studded match for the women they could do, and it was alright, but could have been better, certainly. I mean, this Britt's first big match since being back from injury. I mean, she only had one match prior to this upon her return. That was against Sheeta, and she looked alright in that match. This, kind of wonder, again, about her ring rust. It's just, you wonder. Anyways, Mercedes retains after the Moné maker, and we'll see where she goes from here. Certainly we'll see when we get into the fall. Jack Perry first Darby Allin coffin match for the TNT Championship. This match was very intriguing, because, coffin match and what these guys have done to each other the last number of months. And what Darby is willing to put his body through is, you just wonder. Now, this was more like a casket than a coffin. But nonetheless, we got the match, and I think it ended fairly quick as far as people's expectations. Because Jack Perry won. We did get a glass spot, as you expect. Cry River, whichever you want to say. Jack Perry won, and they were set to light the casket on fire. And then all of a sudden we see Sting emerge after Metallica, and that's good. Yeah, it was certainly a fun moment. Good to see Sting back protecting Darby. You just wonder, because there's no EQ and Sting was there. He waits till after the match, but Jack Perry, the Elite definitely need momentum. It's been weird coming out of Blood and Guts, so definitely need momentum, I will say. Then the main events. We got Bryan Danielson defeating Swerve Strickland for the AEW World Championship. Bryan came out to final countdown as we all expected him to. It was a great moment. Saw Birdie, we saw Buddy, we saw Bree, who had a sit down with Renee before the show, so that was interesting and great to see. And most emotional video package, whatever you want to say. It was fun. So, Swerve then had a hell of an entrance. Live mic entrance with UGK and Flash Garments singing his theme. Great stuff. And he was wearing the robe with Jimmy Rave again. It was fun. Fun match. Bryan was bust open. He had some big spots. The sort of match, you know, Bryan would just keep firing back. It's like taking Swerve's best shots and just keep coming back. As Swerve would hit, a house call after house call after house call. He went for a Swerve stomp, but was caught into a wriggle stretch. He had a JML driver, and when Bryan kicked out, the crowd almost went unglued. And then finally, Bryan catches Swerve in a bell lock, and then transitions into a Ring of Saturn like hold. And Swerve has no choice but to tap out. And Bryan Danielson with JR commentary, that was a good little aspect too. Bryan Danielson is now the AEW World Champion. He said he didn't want titles, he just wanted to wrestle. Well, with his full-time career winding down, and with Birdie saying that she wants him home, her dad home, it's tough. Now, it's interesting going forward because Darby won Royal Rampage, so he has a guaranteed shot at Grand Slam in the middle of September. And Christian Cage won the Casino Gauntlet match tonight, and he has a guaranteed shot that he can cash in. So, two guys are in the weeds, in the thick of things that could mess up things for Bryan. So we'll see, and we saw Hangman at the end make his presence. So that match is certainly on the horizon again. Hangman for Swerve. We'll see. But yeah, Swerve's no longer champion. So we'll see. But Allin 2024 was a classic, was a great pay-per-view. Not much bad to say about it. And I'm sure there'll be some skeptics out in the world that will critique it like a bunch of idiots. But this had plenty of great moments, and I'm certainly happy for it. So, great stuff. So, Allin next summer will be in Texas, but then they announced that the following year, Allin will return to Wembley in 2026. But they also announced that in February, day after Valentine's Day, we will get Grand Slam in London. It will be a stadium show. So, that's something to look out for in Brisbane, I believe. So, or London, excuse me. Yeah, but nonetheless, that was the review for you guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, of course, leave a like, leave a thumbs up. Helps out the video. Thank you guys all. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Subscribe if you guys haven't, if you guys are new. But thank you guys all. Be safe. I'm Joe Tunov. See you guys next time. So long. Peace.